Hello everyone, welcome to the Advancement Centre and welcome to the world of magic and miracles, where once again we explore beyond our imagination into the areas of our existence that take us to where we want to be, to where the energies generate themselves and when perfection is the only thing we understand, where the brain pulls itself out of the road, sits back and relaxes and watches the scenery, where difficulty doesn't even enter our world. So now that we can do that so easily, we don't need to look back and to ask what's been going wrong. We only need what we've got. That feeling of perfection that surges through your body and through everything else without you saying a word. The mere fact that you are willing to step above everything and not care where that footprint goes shows that you are willing to allow the forces of the universe to provide whatever you need. And once that is done, it never has to be done again. You don't have to figure out how you got there. And once you're there, you don't care. So living on an elevated platform is actually a little bit old hat. You're living beyond all those things. But the physical structure won't let go unless you can use the elevated platform of living as a step to take you to that endless trip that you're all looking for, where the gifts that you bring the world surround you, swirl around you, and you can feel them without description and without having to know a thing about it. The brilliance of your origin reflects in every one of you. You don't have to find it because it's all part of you. The fact that you can step from one dimension to another and create a new one if you wish. You can go from one world to another and not care which one you're in. You can look down on the stars and you can look at one another with a whole different light, particularly when you see the brilliance of every person and everything around you swirling in front of you in a dance that produces colour that you know about but can't see, that produces brilliance and a light that shines that you know about but can't see. What is about to happen is all these special senses that you have are going to add to the visual plane that presents itself to you in your world. So when you look, you won't just see with your eyes, you'll see with many other senses. Just like a blind person knows somebody's near and can tell you who it is. All these things are coming together so that we don't have to decipher what we see. Some of you will find that your eyes are blurring every now and then. And when you go into places that are heavy with other people's energies, you find that you can't see properly in a big supermarket, it's very common for you to have to walk around for quite a while before you can really see. That's showing that the senses that belong to you as an elevated being are being bombarded rather than kept in harmony. All you have to do is wait for everything to come to you rather than you trying to push forward. If it doesn't come to you, then it's not supposed to be seen by you. And you'll get used to the fact that the things that you see with brilliance are the things you're supposed to see. All the other things belong to somebody else. And they really can disturb your field if you move down below that elevated platform of living. But if you remain above that platform, your interactions in the world will be quite different, and you will see much more than you've ever seen with the naked eye. We're calling on all these senses to act for us many, many times during the day. Even driving a car, you find those senses that come from nowhere protect you and look after you at times when you thought you should have been concentrating but weren't. But everything seems to work, and you know where to steer and where to drive and how to slow down and when to slow down. It's the same as when you maneuver through your own home. You go from one room to the other and you don't realize that you don't run into anything even though you don't look at it. You get up in the middle of the night and you don't need the lights. But every now and then, your system will get disturbed and you'll find you get up in the middle of the night and you don't know where you are. This is a matter of losing the connection to the senses that we haven't defined in this world, but the senses that we're very familiar with. And that's when a signal comes to us that something is not in line, something is out of balance. And it doesn't take long before you pull yourself all back into balance again and you know where you are and what you're doing. All that is coming forward now to be part of our everyday life. So that as you walk around, all your senses, all the feedback from the universe, from the earth, from even the inanimate objects around you, are starting to show that you understand everything is alive and everything is transmitting to say, I'm here, my interaction with you is in your field and you know all about it. So what I'm opening up to everyone is the fact that you do know everything. But it doesn't all go through your head. There are many, many thousands of very advanced interactions that you have, not just in your body, but in everything around you, that you know about, but you don't have to limit it to what's in your mind. So now as we move forward, you'll find that even our assessment of our own body will change. The assessment that we make now is one that comes through the brain that finds things wrong, never finds anything right. It only signals you when there's something wrong. And sometimes there's something wrong. It's not actually wrong, it's just different to what you expect. But if it's handled by the correct part of your being, it's handled without having any soreness or any disruption. It may feel a little strange, but the strangest part is that we've been trained to put our mind in the middle where the magic should be. So as you move your energies around and you let them flop backwards and forwards without them being confined too hard to your body, there's a slight gap in there where you used to put your mind to say, I'll tell you what to do. If you can feel the possibility of magic being in those spaces, you will feel it immediately, because that's the truth and that's where it belongs. The magic is in our interface between everything, and it doesn't follow our rules. It follows whatever spirit, not the defined spirit, but the spirit that is endless in you, whatever it sees as reasonable. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to follow the rules of science. And we all use the example of working on hot coals. The interface between you and the heat changes magically when you're not concerned about it. And you can walk on something that's hot and it doesn't burn you. There are many, many things that children show us that don't come out to the results that we have determined should be normal. So as you move forward, you will find that these things happen naturally to you. You'll feel a twinge in your body and you won't put your brain in there. You'll sit back and watch as the magic does its thing. Moves it on, changes it, turns it into something else. You'll watch as you grow younger inside, when your body is showing you that you're older. You'll know beyond a doubt that you don't have to prove to the physical world the condition that you're in. And then you'll be in perfect condition for whatever suits your life at any particular stage. So now that we're going into a few of the what you might have called in the past abnormal aspects of a human being, you can see that that's more than all that we've ever discovered in our life. In one little instance of saying it doesn't have to follow the rules, and it won't, you can see that the impossible disappears and everything will form to the best result needed for each individual person. So when you're dealing with one another, keep the flow free. Don't do what we've done in the past and lock everybody into a fixed picture. Because there's an understanding behind the smile and the physical agreement that happens through recognition that has more components than you can ever write down in a lifetime. And the respect that covers all those interactions covers the impossibilities as well as the possibilities. And so the chance of a miracle becomes 100%, because that's the way you decided the world should be when you're finished with it. And that's the determination that's within each one of us that says the world will be full of magic, people will really enjoy it, and if I've got anything to do with it, it's going to happen right now. So there you feel the drive that we all brought into this world. And it doesn't matter where we came from or where we're going. We're taking this world with us in its totally elevated state to be presented to the rest of the universe as our greatest work of all times. So know that we're all here for a reason. But the project that we talk about is only a tiny fraction of what we have inside us, of the drive we have to make a difference. Not to the financial system, not to the attitude, but to the whole existence, such that there is no need to force against anything, and there is no need to make rules. So the compounding factors within us all come together in a much more complex way than we think. And it's demonstrated by simplicity. Simplicity of interaction, simplicity of movement, the simplicity of life. That does not include the old parts of life that caused struggle, frustration, annoyance, and reaction. Those things cannot happen in this whole new dimension that we've all brought together, that has every individual's world and dimension intermingled in such a complex dance that does not affect anybody except enhance everything you're doing. So as we enhance one another, it supports us more. It's just like all different coloured smoke wisping around and never changing colour, but mixing in strands everywhere that make the overall picture look solid. In a painting with many lines of colour that don't change because they weren't mixed, but they overlay and they underlay and they give a solid picture of what we all love to look at, that's completely flexible and changing in every second. This is our mastery, and this is what we've come to find in this physical world, and that's the combination of what was originally two dimensions, all polarized, if you like, positive and negative, black and white. We brought color we bought shades of grey. And now we've brought the universal colours, energies and forces into that world to allow it to paint not just a single picture, but a continuous picture that suits everyone, that has their life in it and their gift. And we all know when somebody offers a gift, there's a recognition there that makes you bounce out of the chair and say yes. When someone offers a gift to the world, it can be a fraction of a second long, and it will stop the world. Some amazing act, some amazing vision, some short presentation of yourself that's not even captured on picture is remembered forever in the lives of those who caught it. And so when you walk down the street and you're really not connected to anybody, you'll find that they're all connected to you because of the glow that you have and the fact that you are presenting your gift to the world. I can talk about the near future. I can talk about the long-term future. But I won't talk about the past for the simple reason that it doesn't exist where we've just brought ourselves to. To look at the past and do anything with it, you have to be in the future, moving forward and delivering something new into what just went by. And the something new doesn't come from effort or sorting things out. It comes from the brilliance that you demonstrate in the world. And the natural movement in the physical world is for things to return to the natural state if they're not held in a fixed state. In the world we're in, we don't need to hold anything in its natural state. We need to move forward, bring the magic that produces states that are way beyond the natural state that we think we know. And you'll see this happening even in science and chemistry, new materials, new planets, new stars, new effects on people, new viruses. All these things are growing. But we're the ones that know how the balance works. And if anything is disturbing the balance, we simply follow our spirit and watch the random movement as something else is stirred up in every moment and appears on the surface to balance out whatever may look like it's a disaster or a virus. There is an offset for everything in the universe. And we are able, without lots of research, to call on it immediately and watch it appear around us. So a little bit of practice goes a long way. But when you have no idea what to practice on, practice only takes you back to where you were. So as we step forward, we have to be aware that it's like walking in the dark. And you have to allow all the senses that you didn't know about to raise their head and support you. And as they do, you will feel their effect. And the enlightenment that comes with it will show you that you know more about the universe than you ever thought possible. You will call on things not through fear, but through all the elements that interact with your presence. And you will respond. And the world around you will respond as well. The senses that we've been trained to use most are starting to tire because they are a fraction of the senses available to us. And so our system becomes aggravated because these things are overworked. And we start to develop equipment to offset that overload. Where in fact, if we see past it, step above it, ride on the wave, whatever we need will come to us in a whole different format to what's presented through the big companies in the world. If you've ever seen a grandmother hold her hand up to stop the noise, and everyone stops, and she hasn't said a word, you'll know the power that's hidden behind the intention that's transmitted to everyone. That's just a small example of what will happen in the near future, where everyone's intention will have its place and everyone will respect that intention without having to use their brain or without even taking any special action. This will be the way we live in the world and the way we advance one another. And call things by different names. Even when we talk about love, it has definitions and it has millions of inputs from millions of different ideas. But when you feel that special love that doesn't die, that penetrates everything, even though it's disturbance, and wins no matter what, behind a smile that asks for nothing, then you won't use the word love. You'll just transmit what it is. And you'll smile and you'll enjoy the recognition of each and every person that it touches. And in that way, your gift cannot be touched by the system, by literature, by distortion, nothing. And you will hold everyone in a position that cannot be defined, but can be understood and accepted as a joy in their heart, not for as long as they live, but forever. This is where we're going. This is who we are. Everything we do is forever. And everything we pass on elevates the vision of the future for everybody concerned. So now we can honestly say that every one of us will look at one another and say, I wish you perfect life, perfect health, and a really magic future. Thank you, everyone.